one morning, I just shot up out of bed. What am I doing right now? This is going to be my life for the next 14 years. I told everyone it's done because I felt like I needed to burn the bridge. So I'm forced to only have one option, that's go to medical school. And I don't even use my degree.
That's Chris, and he has one of the wildest CVs I have ever seen.
Switched my career choice probably 4 or 5 different times.
From aerospace engineering, commercial airline piloting, to medicine, emergency response, before eventually landing on something that excites him every single day.
So like, hey, let me film for you, but never was like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, oh, I'm a business owner. That idea, like I said, was so foreign to me.
Chris is my co-founder at Keys Media Studio, the most competitive luxury media and marketing partner in the Florida Keys. He's filmed projects all over the world, working with brands, real estate developers, and creators.
I went from having no clue what I want to do with my life. I invested all this money, all this time. I now get to play with toys. I never thought I could afford travel the world and experience life early in my 20s instead of having to wait till my 50s.
And it all started because he followed a simple curiosity. Chris is proof that it's okay to pivot until you land on something that finally lights you up. So before we begin this podcast episode, I have a story to tell you really quick. There's a woman I know very well named Christina, and from a young age, she had a very promising career and future. She eventually went to law school, played D1 basketball, and even played professional basketball in Europe. But in her professional and personal life, she kept bouncing around, never truly feeling settled, until she finally moved to Charleston to live by the beach and learned how to surf at 50 years old. I know Christina very well because I lived with her for a month when I dropped out, moved to Charleston, and started chasing my dreams. The first month after I moved was a really brutal time period, but she was one of my biggest cheerleaders because she knew what it was like to wake up and realize that she just spent 50 years catering to society and others' expectations of her instead of listening to what she truly wanted and desired. The problem isn't that the path is wrong, is that it's good enough to keep going without ever questioning what else is possible. That could have been Chris in an alternate universe. And he is someone who has successfully taken the leap from something traditional into something very non-traditional. So, welcome on, Chris. Boo Bear.
Thanks for having me.
This is my boyfriend, Chris.
Hi, guys.
Chris, what's the story of how we met?
So, we met by, you posted a video on your Instagram of you kiteboarding, well, others kiteboarding, and it was actually through one of my friends, Milton, Kite Culture. He was out in the Outer Banks, and he reposted this video of, like, a sick little kiting edit. My immediate reaction was like, who the hell's posting kiting edits here in the U.S.? Like, I'm supposed to be the only one making kiting edits here, because I'm also a filmer and an editor. And so it was a little bit of like, who is this? And then I click the repost, go on her page, and I was like, oh, okay. She's cute. So I sent your DMs. Nothing happened for like 6 months until I was like, hey, come down the Keys. It's going to be windy. Go kiting. And surprisingly, you were down to just book it to Florida from Charleston.
Classic. And
the rest is history. Here we are filming a podcast at 10 o'clock at night.
In the kite community, it makes sense. Like, it's just so easy to be like, yeah, stay at my place. Everyone knows how important the wind is. Like, when the wind is here, you got to take the opportunity. So that made it easier to... This community made it easier to bridge that gap and like make those friends and connections, and especially between us. But when I drove down, he wanted me to come down, and I was also like, oh my gosh, I want to go to the Keys. I want to kite in the Keys. And I think we were both just nonchalant about it. We were both trying to be so chill.
Yeah. What do you mean trying to be chill? I was chill. I don't know about you, but...
Well, that's true. You definitely didn't, like, push too hard.
No, just kidding. I was freaking out inside. No, I was not.
Well, and then, of course, I had to run a background check. Like, I'm not going to go somewhere and stay in a place with someone new without running a background check. So we did have this common friend, Mel, and I gave him a call, and I was like, hey, I'm going to stay at Chris's house. I know you know him. I'm running my background check. Is he an okay guy? Should I not go? And little did I know, Milton is in on this entire plan. Milton's like, and I'm not looking for any type of romance whatsoever. I'm a free bird. And Milton's like, Chris? Oh yeah, Chris is like my son, bro. Like, Chris is so driven. He's up to good things. And that was something I was not expecting to hear. And that's something rare to hear. And that kind of was like, piqued my interest a little bit, because a driven boy? What? So little did I know, Milt really was in on all of it. And he knew that Chris had a crush.
What? Who told you this?
So maybe Milton was helping Chris along a little bit. But it's so true. Then I came down and I literally didn't leave. All my shit was in my car. I was couch hopping. He really got my attention, and I got to stick around.
Yeah. It's been fun.
Chris knows what it's like to taste like these magical moments. We've been in it together, and sitting on a super yacht in the Red Sea, just looking at each other like, what the fuck is our reality right now? How did we land here? This might be one of the sickest moments ever. Yeah. Rail Jam was our first little trip together.
Yeah.
Drive up to Charleston.
And then it was like a month after that. So less than 2 months, then somehow we ended up in Africa.
Yeah, then we were halfway around the world together. And that was a really great test of, do I actually like this man?
Yeah, that was like some of the longest travel days of my life. We went to Cape Verde.
Yeah, super long.
Oh
we were
gosh.
running on like...
Sleeping on the hop-on, hop-off bus.
Yeah, it was brutal. But anyway, Chris was also on a similar path of listening to the world around him, especially his parents. And instead of listening to his heart, his gut. And eventually he made a change. And I think you're pretty glad you made that change, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to go to private school most of my life. My grandparents paid for it, which I'm extremely grateful for. But I think having them invest that much into my education, I almost felt forced to go down the path of at least becoming a doctor, a lawyer, something along those lines, right? I went to the University of Florida, so luckily college was free, but that investment that I've had in my education throughout my entire life, I definitely felt this burden, like almost this sense of guilt, like, oh, if I don't become successful in their eyes, then all that was for a waste, right? I loved studying the information, some of my favorite things I've ever learned, but I just couldn't see myself doing this for another 12 years, 14 years of schooling, just to only get out, become a doctor, then only work more. And I knew deep down in my heart, I love kiteboarding, I love surfing, I love cameras, photography, filming, and that was just always something I've been drawn to. I have no clue why, but my parents got a camera when I was like 13, 14, when like the old Canon T5s or whatever they are. And it was my favorite thing. I would just take photos of cars back in the day, like being in the car community. But long story short, graduated from UF, and I was like, okay, like this is it. Like I have to become a doctor. I was so close to selling all of my camera equipment. I talked to my buddy Gray, who's a professional kiteboarder, and I film all the time. I'm like, Gray, like this is it. We got to make a few more edits, and then I'm done. Like I'm selling everything. Headshots is over. That was my Instagram. Well, is my Instagram page. And Gray's
I didn't know that was in your head.
Gray's like, dang. Like even one of my best friends, Alex and Christian, they all know this. They can vouch for it. Like I told everyone I was selling all my camera equipment. I was done because I felt like I needed to burn the bridge. Like that's where I was at. I was like, I need to burn the bridge of camera, video stuff. So I'm forced to only have one option, that's go to medical school. I was so close. To doing it. For some reason, I never did. I think maybe what happened is I got a film camera, and that kind of reignited my passion for photography and what I'm doing. Obviously, there's something scary about thinking of not going to medical school and that not having that clear path laid out. But I think part of me was actually fine with that too, because it was just as scary to look out for the next 14 years, be like, okay, I can plan this out month by month by month for the next 14 years of my life. And I don't know about you, but I feel like time is just flying right now. And when I was at UF, like my last couple semesters, with all the studying I was doing, it was insane how fast each semester would go by. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, like I know if I stick on this path right now, 14 years is going to go by. I'm going to be like 36, 33, whatever. And I'm going to wake up and be like, oh my gosh, where did my 20s just go? Like, gone. And what do I have to prove for? Okay, I'm a doctor. That's awesome. I can help people for a living. But I just didn't want to make that sacrifice. And I knew deep down, like, this is the stuff I love. One morning, I just, out of nowhere, like, just woke up. And I just shot up out of bed. And I was like, what am I doing right now? Like, this is going to be my life for the next 14 years. Like, just classes and classes and classes. And I know it. And, like, I did so much research on going to medical school. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is not what I want to do. Yeah.
Routine.
You know, obviously not make money till your 30s. I mean, that's a big thing, right? You're going to go 400K in debt and not make money till your 30s. But yeah, so I shot up and I'm like, what am I doing with my life right now? I'm not living my life. I'm living the life that I think my parents, my grandparents want me to live, or the image of how I expect them to live my life. If that made sense.
The projection of what they want your life to look like.
Yeah. From that day, I decided, I was like, you know, I don't think this is right for me. And I didn't drop out those last classes. I was taking like chemistry, bio, and something else. I was like, okay, one more month. Let's just finish this up, be done with it. So around that time, I met Sid. And Sid kind of exposed me to the world of business much more than I've ever been. And, you know, for that year, 2024, I did a couple like filming jobs, you know, working on some real estate shoots and all that, but never really like took it too serious. It's more so like hobby, side income. And Sid kind of showed me the possibilities of like, oh, like there's something that you can do. Like you can make this a career. And I think I just never really believed in myself with that too much. Here she came. Kind of like, no, like do it. You can do it. You can do it. I still remember actually the first time we hung out. We were driving to go surfing. This was the first day that we met.
He was so nervous.
Well, yeah,
I had
it was
no
that.
idea.
But we're driving, and she's like, I'm thinking about getting a new GoPro. Like, what should I get? I was like, oh, you should get like an Insta360. Like, that's what I would get. She's like, okay. She just goes on Amazon and orders it. I was like, what? like that was like a $500 camera. She's like, I'm going to need it. And I don't know. I've always grown up to where like kind of my parents like procrastinate a lot. So for me, it's like, oh, I'll just order it some other time.
Mm-hmm.
So
when
to
you
see
can
someone,
think about it more.
Yeah. To see someone just like order like a $500 camera right then and there, I was like, okay, that was interesting. I've never seen that before. It was interesting to see Sid's, I guess, ambition and impatience when it comes to these things. Maybe not impatience, but more so wisdom. But I mean, it's wise, right? It's like,
yeah.
Like you're gonna need it sooner or later. Why not just order it now? Why wait 2 months until that day that you need this camera? Then you're like, oh my gosh, I need to ship it in 4 days. But I thought that was really interesting, and I've never met anyone like that. So anyways, it was about December 2024, and Sid and I weren't dating yet, but I could tell that she was extremely ambitious, and I admired that a lot, because that's definitely a trait that I wanted to take on more. And slowly but surely, we talked about this idea of starting a media company in the Florida Keys because no one's really done that yet at that time, like at the proper media company. Yeah, so we started that, and here we are. I mean, it kind of grew into something pretty big.
So Chris was talking about this idea he had because he'd been living you've been living what in the Keys for 3 years at this point.
Yeah.
He'd slowly been working with a realtor on and off, filming for him and going out there and asking realtors, "Hey, I'll film this listing for free." He would tell me he did this. And he would tell me how there's such a market gap here of quality and responsiveness for media. And he was telling me that he was thinking about starting a company, a media company here. And I was like, "Yeah, why haven't you started it yet?" I was literally like, "Let's start it. You should start it right now. Like, I can
Yeah.
help you. I have all the skills to help you build a website, get the branding down. But why don't you start a business?" Like, it was right in front of him, but he wasn't leaping at the opportunity, even though it was ginormous. And that's one of those things where sometimes there's blatant opportunities for us to make something for ourselves, and we don't take it. We don't leap on it. And sometimes that's why it's helpful to have someone else come in and be like, "You should do this." Before you sat up in that bed and realized, like, what am I doing? What other things were happening where you started, like, clearly you were subconsciously at least picking up on something else you wanted?
Mm. Well, I think the one thing that I've always never liked in my life is trying to prove myself to other people for them to like hire me or accept me somewhere.
Yeah.
And I've like hated doing my resume. Like that was like my
Me too.
least favorite thing in the entire world. And one of my best friends, Lewis, he was like about a year or two ahead of me with the whole med school process. And it's just like he's telling me about all these applications that you got to submit and like how you got to present to them like you're this perfect human being just for them to accept you into their school, right? And
When I met you, you showed me your tattoo and you started laser removal of the tattoo
Yeah.
for.
yeah, for medical school because I was like, I don't think this is be the most professional thing. That, and then also the pressure of not wanting to spend the next 12, 14 years of working my butt off to not make any money. And, obviously the opportunity cost of your 20s. I mean, that was it. Like that semester, I pretty much started. Like I knew that from that semester after graduating UF, going to Palm Beach State College, finishing those classes, I knew it was going to be another year of classes, grinding my butt off to study for the MCAT, working on applications to apply for medical school, working on research, working on the other aspects of getting in medical school, getting into medical school. Then people already tell you don't have any time in medical school to do any of the things that you love. I mean, granted, that depends on person to person, but a lot of people I talk to, they're like, yep, you're going to be fully in it. And that's how it is with my friend Lewis right now. He's fully in it. He's like, dude, it's so much harder than UF.
And what do you love?
I love kiteboarding, surfing. Well, those two things I knew I couldn't give up for sure, at least right now. And I think part of that too is like I had some health issues when I was like 18 that kind of just like shook me awake. Be like, dude, you're not invincible. Like you need to do stuff like while you're young, while you're healthy, while you still can. And that's why I love Sid's story so much because it's kind of the same thing. It was like you cannot take your health for granted, and that's what I learned at such a young age. And yeah, it scared me because I mean, how can you guarantee like 12 years? How can I look in the future at least 12 years and be like, okay, that's when I'll start traveling. That's when I'll start having fun. 12 years later. And it was mostly all those factors, probably a few more that I'm missing that really just shot me awake. And I was like, what am I doing? Like the opportunity cost here is massive. I mean, doctors make great money. I mean, it wasn't always about the money. I love medicine. It's so fascinating. But like I said, I mean, it would be another $500,000 in debt. You start out making $300,000-$400,000 a year, which is great. But that's not till you're later 30s, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that's in this situation. There's also that pressure by my family to like, oh well, he's gonna be a doctor. My mom was telling everyone, oh, he's gonna go to medical school. So
Proud
like,
mom.
all right. Yeah.
It's really hard to let your parents down, but especially a proud mom. Like,
Yeah.
a proud mom loves to boast about their children.
Yeah. Especially
Chris's
my
mom, especially.
When I turned 20, I was still at UF, and I was kind of just having maybe like an identity crisis. I was like, what am I doing here at UF? Like, I just moved to this place, Central Florida. I don't know anyone. I knew I loved surfing.
And you're hours from the beach.
Yeah, 2 hours from the beach. Luckily, I'm so lucky that my whole life I've grown up like 5 minutes away from the beach. So to get 2 hours away from the beach, I was like, what am I doing? I'm landlocked. So anyways, I saved up a ton of money, bought that camera, and I was like, screw it. Like, I'm just going to do surf photography. I had no clue what I was doing. I mean, last time I touched a camera was like high school or something. Yeah, it was high school. And so I spent like $2,500 on that camera, bought like $200 lens, and just dropped another $1,000 on a waterproof housing. I was like, I'm just going to figure this out. Like, I don't know anything about photography. I don't know anything about this camera. And funny enough, I actually bought the wrong camera. I never told you this. So for those of you who know cameras, I bought an A7 III. So it's kind of like the lower cameras, I'd say. It's just older. And I bought it brand new from Best Buy. And then literally 2 days later, the new A7 IV came out. And so I go back to Best Buy, and I was like, hey, can I return this? They're like, yeah, but it's going to be a 15% restocking fee. And I was like, oh, dude, like, come on, I'm already broke. Like this is literally draining my bank account. And he's like, well, here, I might be able to hook you up. He's like, look, if you sign up for Best Buy One, you get 0% restocking fee on camera equipment.
And he gets the commission.
Yeah. So this guy hooked me up. He literally was like, I don't think I can do this, but let me get my manager.
What a G.
And it worked out. So I had the A7 III for like a week. I bought the A7 IV. And yeah, so did that. Went like for a couple sessions surfing with my friends, and I took the camera, did some photos.
And you bought the camera housing too?
Yeah, the water housing. And then I just decided, I was like, hey, I can go to Hawaii now. Like I just want to go to Hawaii.
Unlocked Hawaii.
And yeah, I went there like a few years prior, and I was like, this is
okay.
the best place on earth. Like, surfing, the water's amazing, the culture's amazing. And I had these little wristbands, so I would do surf photography. I'd just swim out and I'd crowd and line up with surfers, take photos, be like, hey, I got some photos of you. Here's a wristband, essentially as like a business card. Like, this is my Instagram on it, my phone number, shoot me a message, I'll send you the photos.
Smart.
So I would sell surf photos. I was doing this in the shark bite capital of the world, Daytona, New Smyrna Beach. I would swim out with my camera and literally, like super deep water on bigger days. And for some reason, I would just like not care. I think I was just lying to myself, be like, I'm fine. It's whatever. Yeah, so I did that, and I was like, hey, like, this is kind of working. So I said, screw it, went to Hawaii for a month, and that's how I made my money, just taking photos of surfers and selling them. But I didn't make much money. I'd be so happy if I made $100
in a day.
That was my goal, was make $100 a night. I was like, if I can make $100 a night, this is sustainable. If I do that every night, that'll cover rent and that'll cover food. And I was like,
that's all you
sick.
Need.
Most
that's
nights I make like 40, 60. I was still so happy on that, 40, $60.
Wow.
But anyways, eat McDonald's every day. My dad's like, you should probably start taking multivitamins, because like that was the only thing I could afford. Like, food there,
Hawaii is
like
nuts.
$15 gets you like the shittiest Chinese food ever. Like, I still remember I went to one place, it was cheap, $15 for a meal. It was disgusting, worst food I've ever had. Decent food starts at $20, and I didn't have a car, so getting groceries was really hard. But yeah, and then at the time, I never really realized, I guess I had kind of an
You
entrepreneurial
had
spirit.
business, yeah.
But, like, I seen all those people on Instagram. You're like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. And I just never identified with that, I'd say. And it wasn't until I met Sid. I've never really, like, no one in my family is in business or whatnot. And it wasn't until I met Sid that I was like, oh, like, maybe I am a little bit of an entrepreneur. Like, hearing
Yeah.
your story and thinking back to what I've done, I'm like, okay, maybe it just took someone to, like, wake me up to it.
Yeah.
Because
It
it's always
does.
been there. But
It does.
I just never, I guess, believed in myself that, like, oh, like, I could do business. Or maybe I never allowed myself to think I could go into business.
But you know what I realized? If you were ever in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, you're already an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Like, that's baked in. They're literally instilling sales skills. The amount of cookies that I sold, I think might be where it all started for me, if I'm not lying.
Yeah. Those Girl Scout cookies are good.
Mm-hmm.
The mint ones.
Nah, the lemon ones. I don't even know what they're selling these days, but all I know is when I see a girl selling cookies, I'm always going to buy one from her just because I remember what it feels like to make a sale of a box of cookies. So anyway, yeah, that's definitely the beginning of it.
Yeah.
But you know what is interesting? Is so many people don't identify, or like, so many people don't believe that they could be an entrepreneur, but this world, hundreds of years ago, a lot of people were entrepreneurs. Like, it was all about trading, and it's because they were in that situation that they just had to figure it out. And when you went to Hawaii, you simulated that situation too. You're like, I have to figure this out with my camera in the water in these wristbands so I can eat and so I can pay rent.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think that's kind of where it took the fun out of the surf photography, because
That's true.
it was like, I was like, for 2 weeks, I was like, yeah, this is great. I love this. And I was like, oh no, like, I need to do this to eat. Like,
Yeah, you gotta be
this is
careful.
like, yeah. And I actually learned an important lesson on that, because I learned, be careful mixing your hobbies that you really love with it as a way to make money. And maybe more so as a way to support yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's a very fine balance that you have to ride with it.
Yeah.
Or else you're going to burn yourself out and
It's
you're
true.
going to despise what you do.
Definitely.
And I learned that lesson early on, like I said, with the surf photography, because I was like, fuck, like, now I have to go out and do it.
Yeah.
Not I get to do it. I have to do it so I can get food.
Yeah.
You know?
And of course, you were doing one thing. That was one lane. Like, I think I started out pretty burnt out as well. But I was also in that situation where I had to prove I could make it work in South Carolina. Like, I had to prove that I don't need to go back to school. And that sucked. And I think I realized that I really want a variety of things to do. And it's a little bit of the ADHD in me as well that's not diagnosed. But I love switching it up every single day and doing something different, because it's like, if you do the same thing every day, similar to if you're studying every day and you're on that routine, life moves a lot faster. But if you're introducing novelty into your day, into your world every single day, like, you're creating these more dopamine spikes, but also the world slows down. Like, the reason we think that time gets faster as we get older is because we know more about the world and we have a better understanding of everything around us. But when we're a child, we are learning something new every single day. And that is legitimately the reason why time feels like it moves slower when we were younger.
That's what Mike says. One of my good friends. He's this older guy, but he kiteboards and does all this crazy stuff. But he's like, you have to make sure you do one new thing every day, because then you'll remember it, and time will move much slower.
So you went to Hawaii, and you figured that out. And then what? You went back to UF then?
Yeah. My ultimate goal was to either drop out or when I finish college, move to Hawaii. And I think unfortunately, like I told my mom and she just didn't quite get it. Like she grew up in the Soviet Union and her understanding of a career is like, go to school, go get an entry level job, work your butt off your entire life in some normal job, and like that's success. That is success in her mind. And I love my mom so much, and I was like, hey, like I was thinking about like moving to Hawaii after school or like soon, whatever. She's like, no, just finish school, just finish school. And but I knew in my heart when I wanted to move to Hawaii, I knew I should have done it. Like looking back on it, I was like, I kept telling myself, I'm like, okay, no matter how much money I would make in the entire world, I cannot go back time and go like live in Hawaii in my 20s. And I kept telling myself that, but unfortunately, I just kept like asking my mom, like almost for her validation, for her to be like, yeah, do it,
Permission.
do it, permission, exactly. And unfortunately, it never did. And here I am, even a couple of years later. I'm like, man, like maybe I should have just done it. Now, I'm very happy with where I am in my life right now, but you never know. I mean, at this moment, I don't feel the need drawing me back there like it once did. Maybe that's how you felt about Charleston. Like I'm sure you probably felt the same way. Like something was pulling you there. Like, you don't know what it was, but something was pulling you there. And I think that's how I felt about Hawaii. And unfortunately, that train has already left. But I know sooner or later I'm gonna buy a place there and I'll get to live there.
Yeah.
But
like no matter what route you go on,
yeah,
that's the whole thing. Is you find joy, you find the best in your situation as it is. But if you do feel a call towards a city or something of the sort, freaking listen to that.
Yeah.
Like there's something magical that happens. I mean, it happened for the both of us. Me to Charleston, you to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And we both haven't gone back. One of these days.
Yeah. But I think if there's anyone who's listening and they're looking for permission from their parents, just do it. Just do it.
You have
Don't
permission
even, like,
from us.
Yeah. Like if you get in trouble, blame it on us. But like, I don't know. I think even nowadays, I think if you are not dead set on being a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or any other job that follows those lines where you have to go through education to enter into that career, I don't think college is necessary anymore. I mean,
it's lost all value.
Yeah, with where AI is going, I think if you truly have an interest in something, even business or photography or whatever, like you can make it work. If you have an interest in it, like you can make it work. And like I said, if you want to be a doctor, you can't just show up to medical school without an undergraduate degree and be like, hey, let me in. But
yeah,
I think those people who are on that path and truly love that path are going to stay on it. Like my best friend Lewis, he was born knowing he's going to be a doctor.
Yeah.
There's no other thought in his mind than being a doctor. And for me, I didn't have that. Like I love surfing, I love kiting, I love business, I love photos and cameras and making videos. And I didn't 100% want to commit everything, every bit of my soul to medical school.
Yeah. I think it's important to note that like that advice that came from your mom was from a place of love, and all she wants to see is your success and your safety, and make sure it works. Guarantee 100%. Like your parents are not going to wish risk upon you, and you have to take advice from your parents and other people who care about you with a grain of salt. Because like I remember asking one of my mentors, his name is Nate, and he's an incredible, one of the best salespeople I've ever met in my entire life. He doesn't have a degree, but he founded multiple companies, has made multiple millions. And I asked him, I was like, I'm thinking about dropping out and like going all in business. Even he told me, I asked him specifically because he doesn't have a degree and he's made it work. Even he told me, he said, this is a hard one, but I think you should stay in school. I think you should figure it out. And I talked to him later about all of this, and he was like, because I dropped out and I did all this stuff and I made it work. And I talked to him. He was like, Sid, you have no idea how badly I wish I told you to dive off the deep end. But like, he didn't want me failing to fall on his shoulders.
Yeah.
You know? So take it with a grain of salt.
But I think it's one of those things, like, if you have that calling, you almost do need to burn those bridges. Like if you feel it so deep inside you that, like, I wish I would have just, like, it was like what I was saying about medical school, right? I was like, I felt the need to have to sell my camera equipment to, like, do it. I'm so glad I didn't. But I knew that, like, if you need to make something work, you need to commit to it. I guess maybe this is a good time to transition to talking about the other careers I thought I was going to go down.
Yeah.
So, you know, in high school and middle school, I never knew what I wanted to do. Like, zero clue. Like, didn't even know what college I wanted to go to. Like, everyone else was like, oh, I'm going to try to go here, try to go there. I was like, I don't know. I'm just going to apply to, like, Florida State, UF, and Embry-Riddle. And originally I thought I wanted to be a pilot. That was pretty cool. I was like, yeah, flying is really sick.
Sick.
Travel the world. And I think that was the main thing that incentivized me. It was like, oh, you can travel the world and kind of get paid for it. You know, flying as a career is like, yeah, it seems all right. You know, you just kind of sit in a plane all day and fly around. That's it. And so I went to Embry-Riddle my first semester and then quickly realized how expensive that place is.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know, I don't know if I love flying that much that I want to spend this much money at this school. To rewind a little bit, I mean, I was so scared to tell my parents that I didn't want to stay at Embry-Riddle anymore. I was doing aerospace engineering. That was actually what my dad wanted me to do. He got his degree in engineering. He's like, no, you need to get your degree in engineering so you can understand how the world works. I was like, okay, like, I'll just give it a shot. So anyways, I had to tell him, I was like, hey, I don't want to be an engineer anymore. So he's like, he got pretty upset. He's like, well, you got to figure it out. I don't know. But first semester, Embry-Riddle, dropped out, did the CLEP courses for a semester.
And were you just living at home?
Living at home, studying pretty much all day. I just spent like 8-10 hours at Panera Bread. Just they had like $3 for unlimited coffee all day, so I just sit there and study. That was like my entire life. And then went to Santa Fe College, finished up some courses there. I believe it was fall. Applied to UF, and I was so stressed about that. Like, at the time, that's like when I moved to Gainesville and, you know, didn't really have any friends. Oh my gosh, it was the worst time of my life. Just so much change all at once. I signed a year-long lease, and the lease pretty much just had started. And I kind of put all my money on like getting into UF, and I was like, so if they would have denied me, I would have had to wait an entire semester and reapply, which I didn't want to do. I was already ready to just get out of that place. I didn't love Gainesville. I remember I got accepted, and I was so happy because there's just another step forward. Did 2 years there. You know, it was all right. Wasn't my favorite place in the world. Did
you find your people?
Slowly. Took time. I think that was partly why I didn't like it at first. Found it hard to click with people.
Well, that's one of the hard parts. Like, you just kept moving, and you're not settling. You're not...
Yeah. I mean, you know, at that time, too, coming in as, like, a junior, pretty much, it's like so many friend groups are already established.
Yeah.
You know, people already have their rhythms and not really looking for new friends because it's like, well, you know, usually people meet their friends their
that ship
freshman
is
year.
Yeah.
And they kind of establish their friend groups, and luckily made some amazing friends that I love so much and I'm still friends with today. But took a lot of time, and wasn't easy for sure. But definitely helped that, you know, like if you have an interest in something, like go to those clubs on campus. Because like I went to the surf club and met some lifelong friends through that. My best friend, you know, graduated UF, immediately did EMT school down in Key West. It was fun, but I didn't like the fact of, you know, going to the firehouse and be like, oh, what kind of crazy shit am I going to see today?
Yeah.
That's not fun. What kind of fucked up stuff am I gonna have to deal with? It was nice to help people, but you can kind of see a lot of these guys, like a lot of the paramedics you talk to, they're like, don't do this. Like, turn around while you still can,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And, yeah, so after that, I was like, I don't really know if I want to go down medical, and
You
kind
had that
of
moment.
circles back around to what we talked about earlier. It's like, let me start thinking about what I actually want to do now. I did what my parents always said, like, get your bachelor's degree and then you're done.
Yeah.
Like then you can do whatever you want with your life.
Yeah.
So I kind of fulfilled their contract. I got my degree, and unfortunately, I wish maybe I didn't finish my degree and just kind of left and did what I wanted to do. But
How did they react when you told them you weren't going to medical school anymore?
luckily my parents have been pretty supportive of everything I do. But it's definitely kind of my grandparents, because they're very like traditional English people, kind of like they act like they're royalty. you know? So I know they're definitely excited about that. Maybe they don't care that much. Maybe this is kind of all like an illusion of
Yep.
their pressure, that
Yeah.
maybe they really don't give a shit. I can tell you now they're very proud of me for what I'm doing.
Yeah. And I can tell you that, like, I thought my parents cared a lot more than they actually did.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah.
We really hike up
Yeah.
how much people care.
Yeah, I think in reality they just want what's best for their kid, right? And I think it's just having a job like that is so quote unquote secure.
Yeah.
Right? Well, any job is secure,
Yeah.
but
Not so much anymore.
yeah, once I became a business owner, it actually kind of opened my mind. Be like, oh wow, like the illusion of job security, of working for someone else too.
It's an illusion.
Yeah.
We're seeing it just like yesterday. They announced the Washington Post, one of the biggest media outlets in the world, are going to lay off a huge percentage. We saw it at Amazon. We saw it at Target. Just line items.
Yeah. Just numbers, unfortunately. Once I started working for myself, I then kind of realized, like, it's definitely a double-edged sword, because you feel very vulnerable not getting that check every month. You're like, where's my next meal going to come from? But I think once you learn to understand that, it actually makes you work harder, and it makes you invest more into yourself, in your business, because there's that pressure, right? But there's so much more upside to it. And
freedom being one of the biggest.
Yeah. But I guess it's just two different ways to play this game, right? To either work for someone and get the security of it, or
secure it for yourself.
Yeah, secure it for yourself, but that requires a lot of discipline. And I think
does.
some people just...
A lot of headaches.
Yeah, a lot of headaches.
So what did you do after you were like, I'm not doing medical school? Was it pilot?
I stopped doing EMT, and I was like, well, maybe I should pick up flying again. But then, I invested all this time and money into flying. I got about 30 hours. That's like $250 an hour, because you have to pay for a flight instructor. So almost like $10,000.
Oh my God. And you were facing the potential of a surgery.
Yeah, potential for a surgery that I need to get on my ear. If that were to mess up my hearing, there's potential that the examiner, because you need to get like health exams every 6 months, like I mentioned, or every year, that they're like, oh yeah, you can't hear out of this year, you're not qualified to fly.
Yeah, and there goes all your investment.
Yeah, there goes however much money I invested. Like, even mental health, there's so many pilots who feel so scared to talk about their mental health because of not being able to fly anymore. Because if they say, oh, I'm depressed, well, that's a liability, and the way the FAA sees it, right? And so they might just pull your license, and that's it. I kind of had gotten a taste of what it's like being your own boss. And I was like, you just look around, and I'm like, dude, do I really want to work for someone the rest of my life? Like, do I want to fall into that trap? And I was like, being a pilot would be cool, but they tell you what hours you're working. They tell you if you need to wake up tomorrow at 2 a.m. and go fly a 10-hour flight. Like, I don't want to do that. They tell you how much money you're going to get paid. And
yeah. But you're also so passionate about, like, the technicalities of a plane. I think like, that was something I admired, is you're so interested in how things work.
Yeah. I think I love aviation. My dad's obsessed with aviation too, so I think a little bit of that too. Like, like make him happy if I be a pilot.
So how are you paying for your flight school?
Well, I was doing all the filming at the time, so I was still filming, working for a few resorts, and
this is where you were pitching. This is where you were being an entrepreneur, but you didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I never realized it, right? I never I was just doing my thing, like hey, let me film for you, but it never was like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, oh, I'm a business owner, like, because that idea, like I said, was so foreign to me, because I don't know any business owners personally until this girl showed up.
Clearly, you've just pivoted, just constant change, and that can drive you mad.
Yeah.
And in new locations, it can feel really lonely, but eventually you found something that you love to do. You found freedom, and none of that was a waste of time. Would you consider any of that a waste of time?
No. I guess this is a big lesson for anyone watching. I mean, like, it's never too late to switch. I invested like in school, right? I have a freaking bachelor's of science degree in psychology. What am I doing right now?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I film and do photos for a living. Like I invested all that time into my education, time and money, and I don't even use my degree, like, at all.
Yeah, and we hear it from everyone. It's
yeah.
So common.
But no, I don't think it's a waste of time. I think college is great. Like, if you want to go to college, I'd recommend it.
Yeah. Because
you make so many amazing friends, and it does expand your mind a lot. Like, I've learned so much about marketing. Yeah. And, there's also the classes that they force you to take, like the ones that are outside of your major. Mm-hmm. And I learned a lot that I love finance. Like, I find finance very interesting. And maybe if I could turn back time, I'd probably get some sort of degree in economics. I don't know. I know some people too that, like, they did the pre-med route, and maybe they feel like they need to commit to doing all the way through. But okay, you did 4 years of undergrad. Like, if you're not 100% sure, do you want to do another 14 years of education?
Yeah.
But I think there's always time to pivot, no matter how much money you spent. I mean, as long as you're not crazy amounts in debt.
Yeah.
Even then, there's always a way out.
Do you feel like what got you here was curiosity, like with the camera thing?
Yeah, I think it was always just following my passion, as cliche as that sounds. But, like, no one I know got me into cameras. It was just always something I had an interest in. Mm-hmm. But, like, my parents don't do photography. I remember my mom actually bought, like, a photography course when I was, like, 8 years old. Mm-hmm. I was blown away, like, how a waterfall could turn into, like that white color. Yeah, the smooth. I mean, that was, like, the first real exposure. But, mm-hmm. But it was really just, like, I just had this passion for it, and somehow it's turned into a career, and it's allowed me to travel the world. And I think that's so cool, because, like I said, I've always wanted to travel. That was appealing about being a pilot. Like, you get to travel the world. I was like, oh, well, cameras, like, you play your cards right, you can travel the world.
Yeah.
You can travel the world, kiteboard, and surf.
Yeah.
I think there's an iguana in this.
Yeah, there's definitely an iguana. I think that the thing is that the cameras were there for you for years, but it took you a bit to get there. It took you a bit to, like, really go all in with the cameras. And I remember when I was in middle school, me and my friends, we would make iMovies all the time. But I didn't really remember that, because in high school, I just imagined I was going to have some marketing career. And then when I started doing the video stuff, I just remember thinking, like, this is so new to me. I didn't imagine myself being a photographer, videographer. I did not picture that for myself. But then I was like, I've always been, in reality, curious about this. In middle school, we were having so much fun with videos. And, I mean, that was like my one example is stupid iMovie films.
Yeah. I did the same. It was with iMovie.
Yeah. I just
Shout out iMovie.
Shout out iMovie. That was pretty great, honestly. What a good time.
Yeah.
But, like, seriously, there's so much that if you go back to what you were doing before there was any pressure, if you go back to your childhood, like, what did you say you wanted to be when you were in kindergarten? That could actually be the thing that is meant for you. Or you just follow curiosity, follow that flow, because, God, once you get on the other side, it's amazing.
Yeah. I think a lot of people know deep down what they're truly interested in.
Yeah.
And I think if you don't, I think then you just need to explore, you know?
Explore.
Because maybe I do know a few friends that are kind of just like, I don't really know what I like.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
But maybe it's just because they haven't been put in just too many different situations to where they can experience what they don't like. Like mushrooms, not the magic kind. But the other day, like I cooked mushrooms. And I never liked mushrooms until I cooked them and found a recipe that I liked.
He was chatting it up with ChatGPT how to cook them chef style.
It's no different. Never knew what I was missing out on, and now I love mushrooms.
Because you tried it. You were willing to try it.
But I think a lot of people just need to step out of their comfort zone. You know, and try different things. Even pickleball. You know, I know a lot of people
are picking up pickleball.
Yeah,
going crazy.
Pickleball. But
absolutely, I know. I watch my friends, the people who say that they don't know what they want to do. They don't know what they're passionate about. But I also at the same time watch them not try stuff.
Yeah,
they're not going out of their house. They go home after classes. They go home after work, and they don't do anything. They hang out with friends. They go to the bar on the weekends. Your weekends should be spent exploring. You should be going on side quests. You should be joining these clubs. Trying as much as you fucking can.
Yeah, especially while you're young.
I think something we're circling around here, but haven't quite named, is identity. Like, it was hard for you to claim being an entrepreneur, even though you were doing the things. You were literally selling photos. You were providing a service to someone in exchange for money. You didn't call yourself an entrepreneur. You didn't see that for yourself somehow, and that might have been the reason you didn't leap into it. And it's the same thing. Someone who's a smoker, I dealt with addiction personally. Like, after being at the university and being nicotine all around me, I always said, as long as I don't hold the vape, as long as I don't own one, I'm fine. I'm not addicted. But the truth was, I was addicted. And, like, eventually one landed in my hand, and I kept it in my pocket for a few months at a time. And then I had this identity crisis of, fuck, now I'm a vapor. And now it's going to be hard for me to quit because I am this thing. It is within me. People don't fail to change because they lack willpower, but because if they change, it's an identity, death of identity. And so I guess what I'm trying to say, if there is something you want to be, like, you don't have to know all of the camera settings to claim to be a photographer. You're going to have imposter syndrome for a really long ass time. Did you feel like when you started Keys Media Studio?
Yeah.
Did you feel like an imposter?
Yeah.
Like, it's always there. I was doing the same thing. I had a business. I literally had an LLC, and I could not claim it. I could not be like, I'm an entrepreneur. I faced imposter syndrome for such a long time. But if you want to be something new, you have to say, I am this. If you want to quit smoking, you have to say, I am a person who does not smoke. You can't say, I'm going to stop smoking, because that just pushes that line, that finish line, into the future. You have to say, I'm not a smoker anymore. As of today, I'm not a smoker. I might occasionally hit a cigarette out loud, even if you don't feel like it, is going to be a practice that gets you further than you might think.
Well, I think a little bit, too, is just slowly gaining that confidence, because I know for at least me with Keys Media Studio, it's like I would tell myself that, but like I didn't believe it, you know, like it was up here, but it wasn't here.
Yeah.
You know, and like, oh, I'm a videographer, I'm a marketer, I'm a photographer. Like, I'd say that up here, but I think it was truly the little baby steps, the tiny little things where like, oh, a customer's happy, or like, oh, wow, I actually did that job correctly, and like they were satisfied with the product, and that a lot of that starts to,
Yeah.
not even a lot, just a little bit starts to dribble down to
Yeah.
your heart. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, like maybe I am that. And
That's so true.
there's only so much you can do to tell yourself in your head, like, oh, I'm a photographer now, or I'm this now, I'm that now. And it's important to like mentally prep yourself into that role. But I think too, it comes down to just the little bits of confidence that you get over time of actually being able to perform what you need to do that truly helps. And it all starts by telling yourself that you're
True.
that. Because, I mean, if you think about the opposite, if you're like, oh, I'm not a photographer, then how is that going to help anything, right?
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, I'm just not cut out for this.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's an issue with the mindset. So you need to tell yourself you're something.
Yeah. You have to choose the identity you want.
Yeah.
And then you slowly start picking up evidence for that, and that will stack. And it goes hand in hand too with how you price yourself. Before you feel confident, you're not charging shit.
Yeah.
Like you're making such little, you're
yeah.
making chump change. But as you pick up that evidence and as you start really stepping into that role and believing in yourself and clients, the feedback is there, then you feel better about upping your price, and eventually you can have this living wage. Eventually you can pay yourself what you deserve.
There is that whole thing like fake it till you make it. And yeah, I think it works, but I think you can feel if you're faking it, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I think other people can pick up on that.
That's
too.
so true.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you can ask someone a question, even on like camera gear, right? If someone was faking that they're like a videographer, I could ask them any question about these camera stuff, and I could know within a second if they know what they're talking about,
Yeah,
right?
that's so true.
I think, you know, at least with me, I've always been a little bit cautious with that whole thing, because you don't want to reveal your cards in the wrong way and someone knows you're bullshitting, and then like, you know.
But there's also a skill to that too, because I've had so many moments where I've been asked a question that I should, based on my role, know the technicalities behind that, but you're just not there yet, and that's okay. Like, don't let that stop you. But if you are in a situation like that, you have to strategically shift the conversation back in your favor.
Yeah. Flip the question on them.
Flip the question on them. What do you know about this? No, but actually, or you also can, there's moments where you can admit that you don't know the full answer, and by being transparent, someone will trust you.
Yeah, and
more.
I feel like if someone doesn't know and they tell me, I gain a lot more respect for them.
Absolutely.
Than if they try to bullshit me on something, you know.
This is what you say. You say, I'm not sure exactly, but let me find out.
Yeah.
And that.
See, they're all talking to each other now.
How would they do that? Chickens are talking. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but
Welcome to the Keys.
there's iguanas in the trees and chickens in the trees as well. What's a fun fact about the Keys that the people don't know? It got really cold recently. What do iguanas do?
They fall out of the trees. I'm sure if you've seen the news. I wish we could pull up the video of that dude with the iguana blanket. That was the craziest thing I've seen in my entire life.
Can we please play that clip?
Yeah.
I'm sure
that
we can
was
play that.
actually insane. Like, shout out to that guy, whoever he was.
So because iguanas are cold-blooded, just like an alligator,
yeah,
they will their functions will literally stop working, and they will fall out of their home, the trees,
and they just
once it's
float
cold
on
enough.
the ground.
And then they just like thaw out and
Yeah.
go on living.
Well, no, they come back to life. They just kind of like freeze and then warm up.
That's so nuts.
But yeah, we have a large chicken population here. That's Dale. Wait. I think that one's Dale. But that was definitely something I had to grow into. And it's even just like the little things, like sending invoices, you know. It's like, oh, huh. I'm getting paid for this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the crazy thing. I touched on it earlier where like I said you have to be careful mixing what you love to do with making money from it. But there's definitely a healthy balance to where if you feel like you're getting paid what you deserve, I think
Yeah,
I
you don't
think
resent the work
you
anymore.
don't resent the work, but that comes from fighting for maintaining your value or getting
Yeah,
value for what you feel like you deserve to be paid.
yeah,
And I think the reason I did resent it, because like, one, I was just struggling to get by. I mean, but I wasn't making very much money. But now I love it because, I'm happy with what I'm being paid for my work, and clients are happy, so everyone's happy all around, and it doesn't feel like I'm working myself to death just to try and get by. Um, but I had to crawl out of that hole to get to where I am right now. So it's probably never easy in the beginning, but once you get out of there,
yeah.
it's much nicer to where you can, at least myself, still do what I love. Like sometimes, even the other day, we're filming a freaking wave pool here in Marathon, like a surf
Yeah.
style. And I was like, I can't believe I just got paid for that.
Yeah.
Like,
It's so true.
And I don't know if there's any other career that I'd be able to say the same thing. Be like, I can't believe I just got paid to do that.
It's so true. It's very rare. And that can be an occurrence you have every week. Like, I don't know, when I was an intern, there were one or 2 days of my summer internship where I was like, I love this job. This is amazing. But the other 3 months of that, I was just head down grinding. I didn't look up around me and feel this wonder and awe. But now this day, well, we are at every single week, like, we're telling each other, we're like, fuck, I love what I do. It's really cool what we've been able to create for ourselves, but it's because we followed that curiosity. It's because we put those reps in and we gain that confidence over time. And you have to be careful because people will take advantage of you. People want the cheapest price. I mean, most people are willing to ask for a discount. You've had a realtor who's making a $50K commission check ask for $500 off a video.
More.
And it's
more. Selling like an $8 million house.
Yeah.
He's making $400K off commission, something like that.
So
he's trying to like get like, I don't know,
be stingy.
$100 or $200 off. I was like, dude, really? Like,
so like, there's a point at the beginning. You have to get the reps. You have to get the portfolio. You have to do it for free. You have to do it for little. But as you start stacking, you have to wake up and tell yourself, no, I deserve more today. You have to tell that client who you used to give a discount to, you have to tell them, hey, my rate just went from 30 to 50 an hour. My rate just went from 50 to 100 an hour. And you know the most magical part about owning your own business? You literally decide how much you make.
Yeah.
I remember thinking $15 an hour was a lot.
Yeah.
And then $30 an hour was a lot.
Yeah.
And now I'm at the point where I really don't want to do the work if I'm making less than $150 an hour. And that's nuts to say.
I used to do Instacart. I ever tell you that?
No, I did Uber Eats. I sold my plasma. It's crazy that you have to, there's the moment of desperation. There's the period of time where you'll do anything you have to. But you yourself have to take yourself out of that mindset, scarcity mindset, and you have to move into abundance. And you have to realize that more opportunities will come. It's hard to say no. It's so hard to say no. But if someone is asking you for your service, you have to realize that you're on the right wavelength. You're getting your name out there. And even if you say no this time, someone else will come along. Someone else will. Guys, if you don't figure out what you love, if you don't find something you're really passionate about, you might never meet the people that you really could love. Chris and I have such similar interests, and you don't necessarily have to have that in a relationship, but like, if you are of similar mindset to someone, your relationship just automatically works better. It's more aligned.
No, I agree. I think it's also cool that it's important to surround yourself with people that you want to be like.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Like when you showed up, I admired your entrepreneurial spirit
Right.
and your drive to do things. I was like, I definitely want more of that. Your hard work,
Absolutely.
staying up till 5 a.m. Yeah. You're a special girl.
Oh, thanks. If your friends don't inspire you, if your partner doesn't inspire you or make you a better person, find new friends. Like, as hard as that's to say, your friends should push you to be better. Your relationship should push you to be better every single day. There's no excuse.
I agree. Surround yourself with people that you want to be like.
Yeah.
I went from having no clue what I want to do with my life. I switched my career choice probably 4 or 5 different times, invested all this money, all this time, and then somehow ended up on a path that I never thought I would have been down. I now get to play with toys. I never thought I could afford travel the world and experience life early in my 20s instead of having to wait till my 50s. I guess if anyone's listening and you have a hobby, I think nowadays there's always a way to make money off of your hobby or like just live within that sphere. And that's what I love, right? Living within the sphere of camera gear. Yeah, so it's definitely a dream come true to be able to buy this equipment, because I remember a couple years ago when I was UF, I was like, $200 for a lens? Are you insane? Like, how the hell is someone paying $200 for a lens? And not to brag, I don't want to brag, but now it's like I'm planning on purchasing a $3,000 lens, and it works for the business because it makes sense. It's an investment, but it's just it's so cool because I get to buy all these toys. I mean, these are toys that make me money and grow the business. But you know, some other friends, they love, they're in finance. They love stocks. That's their thing, is like buying stocks. You know, that's their camera gear, right? And or maybe artists, and they love certain paintbrushes.
Yeah.
You know?
So I mean, if you've listened today and you take anything away, take away this. It's okay to change your path. It's okay, even if you've invested thousands of dollars, years of time. If you're not happy in that place, freaking change it. And don't wait for evidence. Don't wait for permission. You have to name that identity. You have to think about what you want, and you have to create the permission for yourself. You have to find the evidence for yourself. No one's going to serve it to you on a platter. But most importantly, follow your curiosity. What lights you up? What did you say you wanted to be when you were younger? What did you do for fun when there was no pressure? Think about that. There's a way to turn that into income. There's a way to turn that into your life's project. And it can start as a side quest. It can start as your side business. And if you love it, keep going. And if you don't, that's okay too. Keep exploring. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Guys, I don't think anyone knows how much of a part Chris has had to play in some of these sick ass projects we've been able to do. He is so technically smart with the camera. It's something I really admire, because I just want the camera to work. I don't care how I get there. I just want to tell a story, and I want it to look pretty. But Chris has so much more knowledge about what actually gets us there. And he has super cool gear that I get to play with as well.
She just uses me for my technical knowledge.
No,
she doesn't actually love me.
I love it. He's tired now. It's time to... Stop! He's the type to go to bed really early, and I get to stay up super late. Signing off. This is the Kids Like Us podcast.
Make sure to send this to a friend. Spread the word. The kids like us. If you are somebody you know is not meant for the normal Matrix life.
Oh, he said it. He said it. Send it to a friend. That is the best way we can get this community popping. And also, like and subscribe. It would mean the world. Thank you for being here. I love you. Chase your dreams.
I love you too.
Good night. I love you too. Bye.
Bye.